Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt.
Weight loss culture gets a really bad rap, and in most cases, I'm right there with most of the folks making arguments against it. Because fitness and nutrition should never be used to make you less healthy. However, in America, we have a population where over 70% is overweight or obese. Granted that some of these individuals are technically overweight because they're carrying a large amount of muscle mass, realistically, this only makes a tiny percentage of the overweight population. As for the health risks of being overweight or obese, these are undeniable, ranging from an increased risk of heart attacks, diabetes, joint problems, or chronic back pain. Carrying excess weight is not a good thing. While normal weight individuals are still susceptible to similar health conditions, quite famously the heart attack suffered by The Biggest Loser's personal trainer Bob Hart, the risks of suffering from such events are much smaller, and the possibility of recovering are much greater for those that are normal weight versus those that are overweight or obese. Welcome to the Workout Nerd Up. I'm Julio Lopez. I'm a certified strength and conditioning specialist, a certified personal trainer with over 8 years of experience in personal training, and I have my master's degree in nutrition. Because of the ever-rising percentage of the overweight and obese population, there's a good chance that those that fall into this category have had their medical professionals suggest that they lose weight with good nutrition and exercise. Unfortunately, this is a lot tougher than most people think, and if you're someone who has tried and failed at losing weight, I'm sure that you know this all too well. Today, we're going to dive into some of the most common areas that continually make it so difficult for people to lose weight. This may sound counterintuitive, but one of the biggest reasons why so many people struggle with weight loss is their very obsession with losing weight. Because this can create a highly restrictive environment and mindset, which many can only tolerate for so long. It may also lead to unrealistic expectations, and when such expectations aren't met, this creates a sense of failure and a lost passion for sticking with the weight loss journey. I once had a client who did her homework before we even got started. She knew that 1 pound of fat was approximately 3,500 calories, and that health experts suggest weight loss at a rate of 1 to 2 pounds per week. That said, she calculated her basal metabolic rate and subtracted 1,000 calories. This way, she could lose about 2 pounds per week. The problem was that she wasn't factoring her activity level, which was going to increase, and the amount of protein consumption was going to be pretty low. Had I not informed her of this, she would have lost weight, but some of it would have come from lost muscle mass, which would help to keep her from looking gaunt, as well as maintaining the weight loss for the long term. Does it help to count calories? It depends. While almost everybody either overestimates or underestimates their intake, logging in what is being eaten can be hugely helpful in spotting the foods that may be preventing weight loss. Logging in food can be very tedious, but if you find it helpful to keep track of what you're eating, I don't find anything wrong with it. Are apps like MyFitnessPal helpful or harmful? This is another case where the answer is, it depends. Using food diary apps that display estimated caloric intake and expenditure are great in theory, but there's no way that you can get an accurate reading. Instead, I really love these products when they're just being used as food diaries instead of as calorie counters. I always have my weight loss clients log in their food into Fat Secret for 3 days. It's similar to MyFitnessPal, where most of them tell me that it's an eye-opening experience when they get to see exactly what they ate. With this information, we can start to look into possible alternatives for the more problematic foods, as well as strategies so they can eat healthy without having to sacrifice everything they love. Until recently, it was believed that doing hours and hours of cardio was the best way to lose weight because it allows one to burn calories at a higher rate than when lifting weights. While doing a lot of cardio can burn a lot of calories, it really doesn't make as big of a dent on weight loss as you might think. Remember, 1 pound of fat is about 3,500 calories. Running or walking 1 mile burns about 100 calories. This kind of strategy is the very reason why so many workout newbies burn out so quickly, and on many occasions, this is one of the leading causes of overuse and overtraining injuries. Working out alone is not going to cut it when it comes to weight loss. I can't even tell you how many times I've had clients express their frustrations about not losing weight, even though they've honestly been crushing it with their workouts. However, after further investigation, it's almost always revealed that their eating and sleeping habits haven't changed. One of the facts that's tough to swallow about weight loss is that it requires a number of changes and sacrifices, and not just one. In the end, even if you're still struggling to lose weight, I can guarantee you that the things like getting more sleep, eating more healthy, and exercising regularly are going to make you feel a million times better than before. That's a win in my book. One of the things that so many get wrong about training is that every rep of every set of every workout has to be done at 110%. While this mindset is appreciated, it's not realistic and it can cause your body more harm than good. It's true that training until failure at greater volume loads can increase muscle mass at a faster rate, thus helping to speed up fat loss. But this is not a rational strategy. Think of running hill sprints at maximal effort. You might be okay for the first couple of rounds, but even if you're in amazing shape, you'll lose speed and running technique will falter as you go along. The same applies to training until failure with every exercise, except in this instance, the diminishing technique, which is normal when fatigued, may put you at risk of an unwanted injury. It's okay to train until failure for 1 to 3 exercises, then stopping at near failure for the rest. That's 1 to 3 repetitions in reserve. If you have a pre-existing injury, this means that you have to be more selective about your exercise routine. The first step is finding exercises that aren't going to aggravate the injury or reduce the intensity. Injuries can vary, and you may still be able to exercise, but you still want to be careful because the last thing you want is to make it worse. For the longest time, cardio has been one of the main go-to exercises for folks that wanted to lose weight, but this mindset has been steadily changing in recent years. In fact, some trainers and influencers might tell you that cardio is one of the least effective ways to lose weight because it's merely burning glycogen. That's the stored carbohydrates in the muscles instead of fat. The problem with this is that these folks are only thinking of subcutaneous fat. This is the fat that resides just under the skin. But cardio is actually the most beneficial form of exercise to burn off visceral fat. This is a dangerous type of fat that is found around the organs. Anyhow, your body will be burning that fat after your workout as you're recovering, since fat is the primary energy source while at rest. How effective is cardio for weight loss? It really depends on the nutrition. I can't tell you how many times I've seen so many people killing themselves in the gym, then walk straight to the Wingstop that's next door. I'm not saying that you have to eat nothing but boiled chicken and broccoli, but you shouldn't expect your workouts to burn off a junk food diet. This kind of thinking is like paying off a credit card debt with another credit card. Your interest is still going to skyrocket. Does doing high intensity intervals with cardio increase fat loss? Not so much. But if you're someone who's short on time, high-intensity workouts can be completed in much less time. These days, I'm seeing a lot of influencers promoting walking and stair climbing as their best way to lose fat. Since fat is the main energy source at rest and low-intensity activity, these influencers believe that the slight increases in activity will melt away fat faster. But you have to consider your time. While walking is likely to burn more fat over the course of the training itself, there's not much recovery needed after. Meanwhile, high-intensity training is mostly using carbohydrates as its energy source during the workout, but excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, or EPOC, after the training means that more fat is burned for the hours after completing the training. Nevertheless, I have no problem with folks opting to walk versus running sprints, just as long as the walkers understand that they're going to have to dedicate 30 to 60 minutes and the amount of fat that they burn is equivalent to 10 to 20 minutes of high-intensity cardio. The biggest caveat to high-intensity cardio is that it's hard and unpleasant. Even as someone who's competed as a collegiate rower and served as a Navy veteran, if you could read my mind as I'm doing these workouts, you'd hear me asking myself, why is it that I'm torturing myself with this? I'll say this, that the strongest argument to go with low versus high intensity cardio is that the risk of injury is almost zero with low intensity cardio. In my opinion, implementing both high and low intensity cardio is recommended because you're able to get the best of both worlds. As Gary Vee says, stop thinking in terms of or and start living in the world of and. The idea of eating healthy is really simple, and you really don't have to do like me and get a master's degree in nutrition. The hard part is the practice of healthy eating on a consistent basis. As a personal trainer, I get a first-hand look at my clients' workouts when they're training with me, so I get to correct their form and make adjustments in real time. But after the workouts, they go home, and when it comes to their eating, that's not the case. I'm not there. Former UFC middleweight champ Rich Franklin has one of my favorite quotes. The eating happens in private, but the results come out in public. My suggestion when it comes to eating healthy is to be patient and to make gradual changes, allowing yourself time to adjust. Registered dietitian Alicia Beardsley promotes one of my favorite approaches. Instead of focusing so much on the foods that you want to take away, start adding in healthier foods into your current diet. For example, leafy greens are known to be high in fiber, may reduce cholesterol, blood pressure, and they're also really low in calories. You can add spinach to your favorite smoothies, and in most cases, you won't really notice a change in the taste. The key to successful weight loss is consistency. Some of the factors that make consistency difficult is to achieve can range from boredom, which is what I think makes highly restrictive diets such failures, to overly inflated beliefs of what healthy eating needs to look like. Sudden changes in diet can make it difficult to stick with, so you might be better off to ease yourself into healthy eating habits. Make a list of the foods that you know would make it the most difficult to give up, and think of ways that you may be able to substitute for these items. You can also substitute some of the ingredients. For example, if you listed carne asada tacos, you can reduce some of the greasy fat with chicken fajitas instead of carne asada. Again, you want to ease yourself into eating healthy, so just go with one item on your list for every 3 to 6 weeks. If even then you can't get accustomed with the change, select something else and come back to the problematic one in a couple of months. Most important thing about adopting healthier eating habits is to be prepared for slip-ups, and definitely don't beat yourself up if this happens. The cravings happen and bad decisions happen. And just as long as you get right back to your healthy eating plan, whatever you ate during your slip-up is probably not going to affect you at all. However, you need to be sure that you correct yourself immediately and don't do I'm going to get back on my diet on Sunday, especially if the slip-up happened on Tuesday. In conclusion, losing weight is tricky because the basic concept is super simple, but the practice has so many roadblocks and distractions that it can make the process very difficult. In a recent podcast, comedian Gabriel Iglesias talked about his struggles with losing weight, which even included him hiring a nutrition to move into his house, preparing all of his meals and snacks, but it made him feeling miserable. Everyone's weight loss journey is different, so comparing yourself to friends, relatives, celebrities, social media influencers can magnify the horrible feeling when you can't reach your goals. Going down to the bare bones, one not only has to break away from old habits, but also has to form new ones. And this is a much more daunting task that only a few can accomplish after their first, second, or even third try. In my opinion, even if you're not losing weight, if the journey has gotten you to enjoy exercising and adding healthier food has been something that you enjoyed, I think that still counts as a victory. That does it for today's Workout Nerd Out. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. If you know anyone who can benefit from this information, please feel free to share it with them. Until next time, I'll see you on the next Workout Nerd Out.